Recent piece on Bloomberg noted that oil finds are at a that's right, 6-decade low.
How many years is that?
It went
60.
Yeah, it went back to 1952, the last time the world found this low amount of oil.
Yep.
And it's actually rather large. It was $12.1 billion of oil equivalent. That did include gas.
Barrels of oil.
Barrels of oil equivalent. Yeah, sorry. That's.
You said it did include gas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's barrels equivalent of oil. And so the mix of that was predominantly natural gas.
Yeah. I'm sure. And the article also noted that it definitely lends credence to the idea that we could be long-term and undersupplied because it takes 5 to 10 years to get all that stuff online.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not ideal right now.
No, we talk about the quickness that you can bring a shale well to market, and that's just not the case with the majority of wells in the world. And predominantly with the oil that they found last year, leaning more heavily towards offshore, which you're looking at least 7 years to develop, and a much higher cost per barrel that is needed as a hurdle rate to even justify getting those projects.
That's just it. So with all these reserves, but especially for the offshore stuff, once you find it, all your work is still ahead of you.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just that
you got to contract the rig, you got to drill, test wells, development wells, then you have to produce it, you have to coordinate the tankers to distribute it, get the pipelines going. It's a process, which is why 7 years is the average.
So on last week's show, 5 to 10, 7.
Yeah.
Last week's show, you mentioned how you thought that offshore was going to be increasingly important in the decades ahead. Does this, the fact that we're finding less oil than we have in 6 decades. I mean, God, what was going on in 1952?
I wasn't here.
JFK, I don't even think was a freshman congressman. Like, geez. Anyway, is this add to the bull case for oil?
Yeah, not going to try and predict prices, but supply less than demand. You'd imagine prices go up. Definitely a longer term play than what people are talking about investing in oil right now, because everyone's so excited about the prospects of rising prices now. But we could see prices fall again in the near term. But long term, if you don't have the product, then it could be a 5-year chart that looks really great for long-term investors rather than a 1-year chart.
Right. Final thing in that article that jumped out at me, it noted that exploration spending in 2015 was down 45% from 2013.
Yeah.
My reaction was actually, that's it?
Well, especially this year, too. So if you see the stats this year compared to 2013, it's going to be even down more than that. So the crisis hasn't abated in terms of company upstream spending. And that's not just for oil. You see projects with coal export terminals being shelved. You see natural gas pipelines being shelved. 2 in particular.
What was it?
In the
Kinder
Northeast.
Morgan actually shelved a couple of months ago, like 2 pipelines or something.
One of them in the Northeast, I believe, was a several $billion project. And that area is really struggling when it comes to prices for natural gas. We talk about New York and New England.
Winter,
they're paying sometimes close to 50% more than the national average, just because the distribution networks aren't there. And that's a little bit to do with government and environmental activists coming in and kind of stopping that. Companies want to invest there. They're just finding it difficult. And so they're abandoning or postponing a lot of these projects.